Yeah, I thought our team, I think nerves kicked in the first quarter. But as everybody saw on the stat sheet, we won the second and third quarter, and I think we played our style of game where we slowed them down. We were getting easy buckets. We sped them up on the offensive end, which allowed us to set our defense a little bit more. Our team is very new, and so I kind of expect the first game there to be a lot of questions and going into a game, will this work, and the scouting report and things like that. So moving forward, I think we've learned our lesson and the details of what we teach and how we teach it for a reason. So I think our team, when I saw them in the locker room, I think they understood as well. So we're looking forward to moving forward and getting into the regular season. That's the great thing about exhibition games.
Coach, I know you can say you take a lot of positives out of the second quarter. What did you see that you did not see playing against this team versus playing against yourself that you found?
Well, I think to start the game, we just didn't defensive rebound. We allowed Vanderbilt too many second chance points to start the game, and I think that's where their momentum came from. We knew that they were going to rebound. They've always rebounded very well last year. So that's where something that we've been working on in practice, because I think we take advantage of the defensive end. But I think when we have worked on defense, we're kind of seeing the same thing. So our undiscipline from that aspect, it carried over into the game. So that's why I think that now that they see how bad that can hurt you, I think that we have learned our lesson.
Coach, back here. The saying usually goes, you got the good, the bad, and the ugly. But in this case, I want to get your input on the good, the bad, and something that surprised you.
I think the good is that when you look at our point column and you look at the balanced scoring, that's the type of stat sheet that we want. That's the type of stat sheet we expect. After the game, I told them we don't have a go-to player. We don't have a player that only does one thing. That's why we put this team together, because we felt like they were all versatile. So saw some great things from the bench. I think our bench outscored Vanderbilt's bench, and we haven't had that in the past. So when you think about depth moving forward, I think that's a positive. The bad, like I said, is our defensive rebounding. I think that's where we could heavily improve. And the ugly, I think is just in the fourth quarter. I think we gave up 41 or 42 points, and that's something that can't happen. We had some lineups in that probably wouldn't play after this. We also trying to get everybody minutes just to get some film and things like that. But I think that would probably be the ugliest, giving 42 points in the fourth.
Well, one is something surprising, something that surprised you as well.
I don't know that it surprised me, but Brooklyn Alexander coming off the bench and doing the things that nobody wanted to do, which was rebound. And because she was doing that, she saw success. I think she had a couple and ones, almost had a double-double. I think that's what really, really surprised our coaching staff, is that she was just willing, not that she hasn't, but she was willing to do the little things. And being an undersized post player, she put her nose into everything, and we had success, and we went on the run because of her.
Coach, sorry if you in the back right here. Sorry if you've been asked this already. The 3-point shooting coming out tonight, does that concern you at all, or is that just a bad night at the office?
I think we were taking bad threes. I think that had a lot to do with it, and the wrong people taking threes. We were taking quick threes. We knew we wanted to play from the paint, and we wanted to play inside out. When you look at our paint points, I believe at halftime we were up 24-18. So we knew going into this, our advantage was going to be in the paint first. We decided to flip it, and we decided to take a lot of long shots and a lot of threes, and we got the result that we deserved.
Coach, can you just speak to the challenge of playing a player like Michaela Blakes, and just for your team, this being, a first kind of test, what kind of benefit there can be from that kind of matchup?
Well, I think early when you play a player like her, defensively you're worried about, and you're working on your foundation, you're worried about your system. You're not necessarily working on a scouting report that only needs to focus on one player. And I think that because she is such a great player, she can score on all three levels, but then she can also pass. She's going to create problems in the SEC. I believe it was her who didn't get accolade at the end of the year last year, and I think that's why she was pissed, because she's a very, very good player as a sophomore, and I don't think she even has a ceiling. And so when you face that and you face her early, in a game where you've been working on your foundation only of your defense, and then you kind of have to focus on her at game time, it makes it tough. But she's going to be a tough matchup. We could scout her for a year and she would still get 40, get 30, because she's that good.
Two more. These two right here.
Okay. Coach, in a game like this, what do you take from what you saw out of Deja Richmond?
Deja is a spark plug for us. Her quickness, her defensive prowess, I think it hurt her when she got 2 fouls early. And Deja knows what her role is, and that's coming in to make things happen, and to pick up our momentum if we're down, and if we're not down, to continue to rise our momentum. She's really, really focused on her three-point shooting, which has improved. She doesn't shoot very many, so you didn't see a lot of that, but I know moving forward, she knows that she's going to be a huge piece to this team.
I have 2 questions. My first question is about the game. So we saw basically like 2 shifts within the way Memphis played. The first quarter wasn't the greatest. They found a spark on the defensive side and the offensive side, and we saw them draw the lead within 5. And then we saw another shift where it just fell apart. So how do you plan to keep the consistency throughout the game for the team?
I think our players have to keep the consistency with how we're playing and kind of get a better feel for the game and how we're being scored on, how other teams are guarding us. I don't think we did a great job of taking advantage of our mismatches, but I think that's where, timeout every now and then. Sometimes, like in games like this, you have to see what they're going to do under duress. And they proved it in this game pretty quickly. But I think that if we, offensively especially, if we lock into our scouting report, especially on the offensive end, and we knew they were going to switch every ball screen, pretty much every ball screen with their 4s and 5s. I think our guards took advantage of the mismatches. I don't think our post players took advantage of mismatches very well.
Okay, and this is your second year doing Hoops for St. Jude Tip Off Classic. Once again, just tell us your experience, being with the children at the hospital and all of that.
This year definitely had a different feel to it. I don't know if it had to do with Coach Cal coming back or, his former players, but I think because we did it the first year, we knew what to expect, but also I think our players took the cause much more seriously. They have been talking about, we're playing basketball and we're fighting for a win, but there's these families, these children, they're battling for their lives. So, we can worry about winning and losing, but they're worried about winning and losing their life. So I think the message was a little bit more clear to our players this year, and they were very intentional on the things that they were talking about, especially at the hospital. They were into the tour, the flags and talking to the kids. I think their intentionality was just a little bit more focused this year.